manly manly men. Ladies and gentlemen, all the listeners out there, I'd like to welcome you back. We're in episode 4 now, Dusty.
Yeah,
Episode 4. This is a midweek recording, and this is a bit of a milestone episode for Dusty and I, because this is our first podcast with a guest. So really happy to introduce everyone to my good friend Devin. Devin, how are you going this fine evening?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
We're all good up here in the freezer of the USA. So I just want to get it out of the way very quickly that I will be referring to Devin moving forward as Bogey. This is how we met. We met as Bogey and that guy. We met 3 years ago now. It'd have to be going on 3 years.
Yeah, about 3 years ago now.
I think it was 3 years ago, playing a finger golf game designed for iPhones and iPads called Golf Clash.
Okay, so
Golf Clash.
So like basically golden tee for your cell phone.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah, cool, man.
It's so you create a player's name.
Mm-hmm.
So mine was that guy because I didn't want to be known as Thommo or my real name, and Bogey was Bogey, or Bogey Man, if I remember.
Yeah, it was Bogey Man.
It was Bogey Man. And so what was cool about Golf Clash, which it's still a game now, what was cool about Golf Clash was that you had a clan of 50, so like a team of 50, but they called it a clan.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was a 1v1, like one whole game versus another team or another player. And you played for money, and then you also played for this thing called clan points.
Oh, yeah.
And so in the game, when you were in your clan, you had this thing called clan chat, and that's where just the people in your clan could talk. And so then it would always come up with Bogeyman or Swamp Fox or Bruins or that guy. And then one day, Bogey just rang me out of the blue because you quickly friend people on Facebook because, you know, you can just from reading people's texts and speech, you can understand if you're going to vibe with them or not.
Yeah, yeah.
So then it came out in clan chat that I was Australian. And I guess this fool wanted to call me out just to see if I was Australian. And then he rang me on Facebook Messenger and said, I just wanted to check to see if you were a Crocodile Dundee motherfucker or not.
Yeah, I was like, man, I want to see if you sound like Crocodile Dundee. That was like my favorite movie as a kid growing up. I don't know. I guess it was the part of it where the chick was in the one-piece bathing suit, but it had the old thong on the back of it.
That was a good scene.
That was like that's the best scene in that movie.
Oh, when they were swimming in the fucking pond or like in the outback.
The pond in the Billabong.
Yeah, the Billabong.
Yeah, but it was when Mick and I forget her name now. I remember her real name, Linda Kowalski, but he called her Sheila a lot. But it was when he said if she was slow, it'd take, like longer time. And then she goes, well, I can make it to that escarpment. And he goes, don't be a bloody rooster. Like, take the rifle. And then he's explaining how to, and then she shoots near his foot, and he's like, that's the dangerous end. And then she goes, so it is. Anyway, so then when she went up to this escarpment, she was filling up her water bottle, and then that massive saltwater croc came out and took the water bottle that was around her neck, and then Mick jumped on, put a knife in its head. But yeah, I don't think anyone will forget that scene, seeing that one-piece thong right up the crack of her. You know what? Bogey, you served in the National Guard for 16 years?
Yeah, I got a medical discharge back in 2020. So I was just about a month and a half shy of 17 years in.
And you deployed twice to combat?
Yeah, I went to Iraq in 2005 and then went again in 2009.
So just for everyone listening that doesn't understand, because you and I have had extensive conversations about this, like, what is like the National Guard relative to, say, like the Army or the Navy or the Air Force?
So the National Guard is you got two. The Army has a branch and the Air Force has a branch. So they're actually, like, I was in the Army National Guard, and we were the Department of the Army. We belonged to the Army, but each state in the 50 states has its own National Guard. So versus like the active duty, those guys, they live on the base, they get up and they do it every day. And the National Guard, you have to do like drill 1 week in a month, and then you have your annual training, which is supposed to be 2 weeks out of the year. You go, you do like rifle range and stuff like that.
So you will do quals, for instance,
Yeah, do weapons qual.
So, but my understanding is that the National Guard was always for homeland defense when the other branches of the military were off in conflict or fighting. But that's not the case because you deployed twice.
Right. So National Guard, they were designed to be like a homeland security, and then work like state emergencies and stuff. For instance, like Hurricane Katrina when it came through. That's what the National Guard was actually designed for. But they can be federally funded, and then they could be called to active duty to serve, on deployments overseas and whatnot.
I was going to say, feel free to jump in with anything, Dusty. So you got a medical discharge back in 2020, was it? Was it that long ago now?
Yeah, man. It'll be 2 years this April.
Wow, I don't even know where that time was going, because I remember you and me having conversations that you were like, "Hey, man, they're going to medically discharge me," but I can't believe it's coming up on 2 years now. Like, it's 2 years of COVID, so this would have been just before COVID then, or just after COVID.
Right after COVID.
Damn, I don't even know where that time's gone, man.
Man.
So I guess the biggest, or one of the biggest questions that I have is, why did you join the military?
Man, I joined because of 9/11. I was a junior in high school when that happened, and I just felt the need to join after 9/11 happened.
Yeah, well, I mean, I totally understand that, because I often say, because I was coming out of my professional school when 9/11 happened, and I was like, I actually did write the armed forces up here in Canada and say, if you need somebody with healthcare sort of background, education, then I'm in. But I guess they privately source out their practitioners, right? So, I was thinking, if I was coming out of high school, it would have been a totally different story. If this happened when I was coming out of high school, I would have probably gone that route. I would have gone the same route as you.
Yeah.
Because when I came out of high school, it was like Somalia and probably Kosovo, Croatia. And it was just UN duty, and I didn't want to wear a blue helmet and get shot at and not be able to shoot back.
That's a bright color. It's a bright target right there. That's all they're doing.
That sort of reminds me when Bogey and I have been playing Warzone with Emo Samurai. You can use a spray can, and I like paint Emo Samurai bright red. And so Bogey and I have been playing. And then he's like, why the fuck is Emo Samurai bright red? Because it's like a massive target. Totally. Like, especially like if you're playing Warzone in Caldera. Totally. Like, because it's like a jungle sort of World War II theme. So this bright red beacon sort of sticks out.
No hiding when that guy's running around.
No, like none at all. So 9/11 was the trigger for you that you felt compelled to do what you could to protect the homeland?
Yeah, just I don't know, man. I just felt like joining the military. Felt like I was of age, and the country could use me.
No, fair enough. I think that's like massively honorable, like doing that. So when you joined the National Guard, did you know the possibility that you could deploy?
Yeah. I mean, at that time, to me, joining in the military, you have a pretty good chance of deploying, especially when your country's already, at a time of war. But it didn't really bother me. I knew the chances whenever I joined the military. I joined the military to, serve, not just sit around. They needed us.
And so your first, after you went through, is it called boot camp or basic training, or is it called the same thing?
Basic training.
So once you went through that, what was your, and I'm going to try to use a professional term, what was your MOS after that?
So your MOS is your military occupational, specialty and stuff. I went through. So what you do is you go through basic training, and after you complete basic combat training. That's where you go like to the weapons ranges and stuff and learn. You have to qualify with your weapon, your M16 and everything. You go through various other training, learn how to do patrols and all that good stuff. And then once you complete basic combat training, you'll move on to AIT, which is your advanced individual training. And I was a M1 tank system mechanic.
What tanks were you using mostly? Like which ones were you working on mostly?
The M1 Abrams.
Abrams, yeah, cool man.
Yeah. So I I later on I picked up a couple different MOSs while I was in the military, and one of them was the mechanic for a Bradley fighting vehicle. So it's a little bit smaller. It's got like a troop carrier in the back and everything, but it's got the little 25 Mike Bushmaster gun on it, and then you can mount like the tow missile system and stuff, which is like a wire guided missile. There's a couple other things I have mounted on those things.
What's the crew size on those?
On the M1, it's a crew of 4, and then the Bradley fighting vehicle is I think it's a 3-man crew, but then you have like dismounted infantry and stuff in the back. I think they'll hold about 10, and then that's comfortably, but like you throw in all the gear and stuff, and then you're looking about 6 or 7.
So, would I be correct in assuming that when you get your MOS and you can only comment on the one that you completed, it's basically like a trade, so you were learning on the job?
Yeah. So you like your MOS and stuff. So I went to school, so you go to school and learn how to work on all that stuff. That's what they teach in AIT. Like we had like a bunch of civilians instructors and everything that taught the class that like work for like General Dynamics and Chrysler and stuff like that.
And so the M1 Abram, was it? That was the main tank that you. So what sort of engine are in those? Because I don't know if I saw a documentary or if I read an article, but they're a turbine engine that can burn any fuel. So it can burn like gasoline, it can burn diesel, it can burn jet fuel. Is that correct? Is there any truth to my recollection?
It's a turbine engine in there. I'm not really sure about burning gasoline in them. It'll run off of jet fuel, diesel, JP8, but I'm not really. I can't remember about gasoline. Pretty sure it doesn't run off of gasoline.
Okay, but it can run off of multiple fuels. It's not like
it can run off multiple diesel type fuels and jet fuels.
What rounds are they using in their in those?
So the main gun is the 120.
120?
120 millimeter smoothbore cannon.
And they have do they have a gunner on there too? Like a small gunner? Yeah. Well, so what are they running out of that?
50 cal.
50 cal?
And 240s. So there's actually the tank commander has a weapon system. The loader has he has a little ring that he can mount a 240 on, and then you have the main gun. You have the coax, which is a 240 also, and it's controlled by the same controls and stuff that the main gun is controlled off of. You just have to flip a switch and change it over to the coax machine gun. Just because it wouldn't be very Geneva like if you shot one guy with standing there with an AK with the main gun on an M1.
yeah.
wouldn't be,
unless you're in North Korea.
But, it wouldn't look too good doing that.
No. Did that who's Kim Jong Un in Korea? Didn't he blow a guy up with he took a bazooka to one of his generals that didn't. I have to look that story up because I thought I had heard that.
He totally.
Oh no!
It's totally. It just made me think of that when you said that. I was thinking that was what they did in North Korea with one guy.
He totally Rambo'd it when they were in what was that Asian country? And
Burma.
Burma, that's it. Well done, Bogey. Yeah, so they went into Burma and then they had the who were the bad guys, Bogey?
Just Burmese army or something like that.
Yeah, but he was self-appointed, and they were just throwing like grenades or IEDs or whatever they were in that rice field.
Oh, those are landmines.
Oh, there you go, landmines, and then they were making him run, and then Stallone comes in with with his bow, and he just starts blowing him up.
Was that Rambo 3?
No, that was number 4.
4.
It was just called Rambo, and then
That's the newer one that when they started redoing
like
Rambo.
that is correct.
That's right.
It was the newer one when he was like in his 50s, still ripped as fuck.
The original was done here, right? You know that, right?
I do.
Up at Othello Tunnels.
Is that where it was done?
Yeah.
Because I thought it was done
where
Hope,
he jumped off when I think the chopper was trying to get him, and he jumps off the ravine there.
Get him to the chopper.
that was
I know.
That was at so yeah, we're only like an hour and a half away from where the original Rambo was shot.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So those turbine engines, they must throw off some heat.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Like when I was at Fort Knox, Kentucky, that's where I went to basic AIT at. Man, I was up there in the wintertime, and it would snow and ice and stuff like that. Dude, we had this little, it's almost like an exhaust catcher in a way, but it's like a metal box we can hang off the back of those M1 grates on the grills and stuff.
What for?
And they had, so because anytime we fired one up inside the building, we had to put those on so that way we could run the exhaust out the door and everything.
Yeah, okay, that makes
But
sense.
we would fire them out because they were like big metal, like flexible metal ducts and everything that were as big as basketballs or bigger. We'd run them out the door and stuff, and we'd fire the M1s up and melt the snow and stuff off the sidewalks and out in the grass and stuff behind the schoolhouse.
All I picture when you're telling that story is Michael Douglas in the F-16 in Romancing the Stone. When he it's not Romancing the Stone.
I didn't have a plane in that.
No,
That's a good movie though.
No, it was Jewel of the Nile. It was Jewel of the Nile, and they go to
and
then he gets in that F-16 and he's talking about
is that where they're like on the ground and they've got to punch
correct
it through?
yeah. And then I just remember like when Bogey's telling that story, I just picture when the exhaust gas from the turbine is just like blowing all the
all the tarps and stuff.
All the tarps and all the shops and stuff like that. So when you were saying that, it's almost like also what came to mind when you were telling that story, Bogey, is like Elon Musk, that flamethrower he made for the Boring Company.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. So those things get like super hot. Those like exhaust ducts. And me and a buddy, and we were in AIT and we fired one up inside and was like, "Hey, you want to play a game?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." I was like, "Let's see who can touch that exhaust duct back here the longest." And it's like, "All right, cool." So we flipped the coin, see who would go first. And of course, I was the person that didn't win that one. And so I was like, okay, I stuck my finger on that exhaust duct, and it's like, kind of the one is like one, and it's like, dang, and all my fingerprints were gone.
Like Kevin,
everything got so hot.
Like Kevin Spacey out of 7, you just had no fingerprints all of a sudden.
Man, it was like just missing. I was like, oh, that was stupid. I guess fingerprints is one of the things that I guess the only way you can get rid of them is like cut them off, because man, mine actually came back.
Yeah, well, that's true, because I used to be a cook when I was going to school, when I was an undergrad, and I used to cook, and I used to think that, because I was a fry cook, and you'd get the chicken wings out of the fryer, and I'd burn the ends of my fingers off, because you're lazy, you're trying to be fast, and I never thought they'd grow back, but my fingers came back, and so it's amazing that you just regenerate.
The body's just an amazing healing machine. Like even when like your spinal system's out of whack, or something gets infected, your body will just compensate. And
totally.
And then it's not until you go see a chiropractor or something like that, and they're like, "You're fucked up, dude." And then it's like crack, and then you're like, "Is that better?" And you're like, "That's massively better."
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I need to go to a chiropractor so bad. My back bothers me daily.
I might know a guy up here.
Yeah, but they're not going to let you in because you're unvaxxed.
Yeah, well, they will eventually. 2024, they'll let me back in when the good guy's back in.
No, but Bogey's not vaxxed either.
Well, that's what I mean. 2024, I'll get down there. I'm going down. You're Mississippi, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, I got to get down there. I was supposed to go to Tennessee when 2020 hit, because my buddies and I do a football trip every year, and so we do a different. I'm a huge football fan, so we do an NFL trip, and we were gonna do Nashville, but I want to go.
The Titans.
Yeah, well, we go to a different city every year, so we check out different towns and we party for 4 or 5 days. If we come down, man, you're in. Like, well, I'll call you. And
man, for sure.
Thommo too. We'll go do an NFL trip
Well,
together, man. It's so much fun.
I'm already going next month.
Yeah, well, you got to do it with us, though.
Oh no, I
Dude,
get
yeah,
it.
it's
I like, I
different.
get it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Doing
fair
a boys trip in a U.S. city, especially a southern state, so much fun.
enough. I don't know if
So much fun.
I don't
man.
know if Mama G or Miss Bogey is gonna let us party with you, man.
No, well, we always did, because I was married when I was doing them, and I always say like we did stuff that might have got us put on the couch for a couple of days, but we never did anything that would get us divorced.
Wait a second. So you're gonna be single when this happens? I doubt it, Mama G or Miss Bogey.
This will be the first one that I am single.
Well,
so
that's
yeah.
what I'm saying. Like, I don't think Mama G or Miss Bogey is gonna let us.
Dude, I went to Denver on my first one with the guys. I went out like a fucking greenhorn. Like I was like in my 40s, and man, I lost my MasterCard on the first night. Dropped $700 in one place. Didn't know where it was. I walked back to the hotel. The next day, my buddies looked at me. Didn't even know who I was because I was so gray from how much alcohol we drank the night before. I don't get that fake tan shit.
I don't get it either. But like seriously,
I don't get half the shit the women do to themselves. Like the fucking fake shit. Like the eyelashes, all that shit.
I don't get that, and that like especially like younger teens doing that.
Yeah. And
I don't understand why you would do that, or as a parent, why you would perpetuate that.
Yeah.
You can't change it. It's not like I sort of get if someone has a psychological issue and they don't feel good about their nose, or they don't feel good about their ears, or something like that, enhancing that or repairing it. If you're having therapy and you but like to get like I don't know, like if you were to get butt implants or thigh implants, I don't get that shit. Or even
or
like
the Botox in the face, man. You look surprised. Like, what the fuck is that all? What's that look?
I remember Nicole Kidman had it for like 6 months, and she always looked fucking surprised. Like she couldn't be angry, she couldn't be any emotion. Couldn't be angry, she couldn't be upset. It was just fucking, it was just like plaster.
Yeah. That's why I'm excited about getting down south, because the women down in the south, I don't think I've ever seen any women more beautiful than the Southern American women. Absolutely gorgeous. I have a thing for like Romanian looks too, but like the Southern states,
like that Scandinavian look.
No, the Slavic look.
That Slavic.
I like the Slavic.
You've said that in like episode 2 or episode 1. You said that same thing.
Yeah.
Like you're a sucker for a Slavic look. Yeah,
for sure.
Like that. I bet you
like Melania Trump. 100%, man.
Okay, I'm gonna say another one that I bet you got a hard on for. How do you pronounce?
Oh yeah, dude, yeah. What's his name's wife?
Yeah, Ashton Kutcher's wife.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
she's
Mila.
top-notch.
Sorry, Mila Kunis.
Yeah.
Mila Kunis. I bet you've got a massive Jones for.
Yeah, definitely.
Like that dark hair. She speaks Russian. Hey, you were learning Russian for a while.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
How much do you know? How
little bit.
How much do you retain? Should I say?
I'm good at reading it. Speaking it's a little tough.
It always sounds
because it's like I'm like a deer in headlights, because you don't know what someone's gonna say to you, right? So if they say something, you're processing in your mind, what did they say? Like I can read it. I could read a newspaper and I could get the gist of the article.
Damn, that's impressive.
But if someone spoke to me, I'd be like a deer, unless they said like cocktaila or something like that, like where they were just saying, "Hey, how are you doing?" Still the ish or something like that, right? Like I know the easy stuff that's like repetitive of day to day, like how are you, but.
I always think that Russian is like German. No matter how nice you try to say it, it always sounds like the person's angry. It's totally an intimidating language.
Yeah. That's why that's why I learned it, because I just wanted to fuck with people. Honestly, it was April of 2020, and I was like, I want to learn language. My kids are sitting around. I was doing homeschool with them when they were off. And I was like, oh, fuck, let's learn Russian, because all that shit down in the States where they were saying, like, there's all these Russian actors. I was like, I'm going to learn it and make them think that I'm some kind of Russian bot.
You do. I reckon you could pass for Russian, though, because you got that full
Maybe.
Viking look. And I think if you were totally fluent in it, you could probably pass. Like, you're like that, I don't know his name, the actor that is always playing a Russian or a Romanian. He's in Bad Boys 2. He's the white guy selling ecstasy, and he gets shot at the end.
I'll have to look it up. We don't want to forget Bogey here, but
no.
like my Amazon Prime, I must have watched a movie in Russian when I was learning it, and now I can't figure out how to fucking turn the Russian off. So I was trying to watch like Beverly Hills Cop the other day, and it kept coming up in Russian, and I'm like, fuck, I just want to end my night, watch something easy to watch, and yeah, fuck. So I don't. Anyone knows how to get rid of the language off the thing? Because I've gone on and I pushed it to English, and it's still coming up in Russian. So.
I'm sure we can figure something out. But so, are we allowed to talk about the tank mechanic story of the other Joes putting paper clips in the wiring harnesses?
Oh yeah, we can talk about that.
All right. So tell this story. Like, so the other, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, Bogey and I were talking about his MOS and we're talking about his episode and like what sort of, he was like, well, what sort of stuff do you want to know? And he got under this this story he was telling me when he was a tank mechanic. And so I'm going to let you explain it from now on.
Man, we used to have to go and during the annual training and stuff like that. Whenever we went to California, anytime we had to go shoot the tank ranges, man, those tankers, the guys, the crew members, you know, they have to qualify gunnery with those tanks and all that good stuff too. So, man, those guys would do anything and everything they could to avoid shooting gunnery. The little the green OD green flashlights you get in the army and stuff that have like a little 90-degree head on them. They come with like 3 or 4 different lenses that you can put like a clear lens on it or a red lens or a blue lens and stuff like that. You know, to keep down the white light and stuff at nighttime whenever you're doing training. So those guys would take those lenses, and some of them would fit perfectly in some of the big cannon plugs and stuff in the wiring harnesses of the M1 tanks, and they put those lenses in there. What that would do would keep the pins and the sockets and the cables and the connectors and stuff of the electrical components of the tank from making contact. Next thing you know, they're coming riding back out of the ranges and stuff with like a little certain color flag up. That I think yellow. If they had a yellow flag flying, it means they had a maintenance issue. So you just see them coming right back up. It's like, man, what's the problem? And they would do anything though. Like they would take paper clips, straighten them out, sharpen them, and run them into the wiring harnesses. Like create shorts and faults. And man, we hated having to work on them because man, once those tanks got hot, dude, they were like just so hot and just nasty inside, man. But those guys would do anything to keep from having to fire gunnery.
Why is that? What was it? Was it because of the time of year, or what was it about firing gunnery that people didn't like?
Most of the time we did it in the middle of the summer, so it was like always hot. But you have crews that just want to mess with the mechanics. I'm gonna just pay back from crap we do to those guys.
So what would you do? Tell me one of your best fucking gags that you do to somebody if you really wanted to fuck with somebody.
Dude, we used to sit them out with like a ball peen hammer and like a piece of chalk and tell them to go check for like soft spots in the armor of the M1s. He's like, well, how do you know if it's got a soft spot? He's like, oh man, you can tell by the sound of it when you hit it. Man, you go out there and look like I was like, man, if there's, a spot that you hit on the armor, I was like, if it's, makes like it sounds like it's a soft spot, I put an X on it. I said, and then, a spot that you hit that doesn't sound like it's, got a soft spot. I said, then you just circle it. I said, no, that basically, we can look at all the circles and tell with that X, oh, we got a soft spot right here. And you go out there and look like those guys been playing down tic-tac-toe on an M1 tank. We had our battalion commander one time. I was in a maintenance company and stuff that supported a tank battalion. So we had the battalion commander. He's an armor officer, so he's got to shoot gunnery as well. We had his driver, either his driver or his loader. We had him doing a boom test on the main gun. And what that would do is we'd lower the barrel as low as it would go, and we'd have him stand at the end of it and yell boom into that main gun. And like we get inside and like we was dropping the breech and was like, hey man, when you yell boom, we got to count the echoes that come down the barrel. And man, the dude was down there yelling, he's hollering just boom as loud as he could in that gun. And we stick our head up out there. It's like, man, I said, do it again. So and so in here was talking to me. And then the battalion commander come up. He looked at the guy. He said, man, what in the hell are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm doing the boom test, sir. And then And my battalion commander, he hollered at me, and I stuck my head. I was like, "Hey, sir, how you doing?" He said, "Quit fucking with my crew." I was like, "Roger that, sir." When we'd check our own vehicles and stuff, like our Humvees and Deuce and a Half and all that good stuff. And we get the new guys that were coming in. We had to teach how to do the PMCS on them. That's where you had to check them out. Check all your oil and stuff. Before you head out. And we used to get those new guys that we put a PMCS class on. We'd catch one later on. But hey, we need you to collect an exhaust sample. And we'd give them a garbage bag, and you see them guys down there, up under at the exhaust of the Humvee trying to catch the exhaust samples and stuff.
The shit that you guys do to pass time in the military.
Yeah.
So, Bodie, what rank did you retire from the military in?
I was a staff sergeant.
And so I'm curious to know, can you explain for people listening, or what's the process you do to get promoted? For instance, from private to corporal, from corporal to sergeant, so on and so forth.
So in the Army, basically for private, PSC, private first class, so you have like three privates. You have private, PV2, and then you have like PSC, which is like private first class. Basically, once you hit time and rank in the military, those ranks they'll come with time, and then same with picking up like E4 specialist. Corporal is also E4, which you don't see that many of those, but those are basically like gimme ranks also. And then after that, you'll have like sergeant. That's when you become a like non-commissioned officer. And to get that, you have to like go to schools, which are called NCOES academies. And all this is like developmental school, just help you progress in your career. That and the time you have to you're judged and stuff. So you're evaluated and everything once you become a sergeant, and a lot of that you get like points and stuff from it. So your promotion points, come off of like schools, like civilian schools you've been to, weapons qualification, PT, awards, all that good stuff. They got all these categories and stuff where you get points for. And so if you're like on top of the promotion list, you'll get promoted and everything as long as you have all the schools and stuff out of the way.
So the going through the classes in private, you sort of and corporal, you sort of called give me ranks. So that's literally time served. If you're a good guy, if you're committed, you're doing everything that your CO is saying, then you just get given that rank.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And then when does it get serious? So it starts getting serious when you start going into sergeant and above?
Yeah, and a lot of people, like, if they have a corporal, they'll place that because a corporal is like considered a junior NCO, so they'll put a little bit of responsibility on those guys and stuff like that. But no, that's in the Army. That's how you get promoted. In the Navy, I think all they do is suck dick, and that's how they get promoted.
Did you just say sucking dick?
Yeah, that's what I tell my brother-in-law. He's in the Navy. Oh, hey, how many dicks you have to suck to pick up that rank?
Damn, son. What would have been the highest rank that you could have achieved without going to college or coming from college? Like, and when I say college, I mean like Army college.
The highest rank on the enlisted side you could achieve is command sergeant major.
Okay.
And then it you're like good enough and high speed, then maybe sergeant major of the Army. There's only one sergeant major of the Army.
So other than that, that's if I'm getting this correctly, that's the highest rank. And did you say enlisted man can achieve?
Yeah.
And so how do you progress into, say, lieutenant and then lieutenant colonel and major and things like that? How does that happen?
You have to have a bachelor's degree, at least a bachelor's degree, to become an officer. And so officers start out at lieutenant. That's the lowest rank in the officers ranks.
So when you say like bachelor's degree, is that like a bachelor's degree from a civilian college?
Yeah.
So when, say, a civilian, goes to college, gets a civilian college degree, and then enlists in the Army, is that the rank that they start out at, lieutenant?
So I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I don't know if you can join the military. I'm pretty sure you have to go to basic training, and then after basic training, if you have a degree, you can go to officer candidate school. I'm pretty sure you have to start out at like a PFC or like maybe a lieutenant since they have a degree. That might be able to start out as like E4, like specialist.
Hmm. Interesting.
Now, when you're at each rank, are you overseeing? Do you have others members that you're in charge of? Is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I picked most of my leadership came when I was an E5 sergeant. You're responsible for like a squad, which could be, five, six, seven guys, eight guys, something like that. I think I had maybe five, and then when I picked up staff sergeant, I was in charge. I first started off, I had like probably 17 guys, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
And then, we had like some guys get out or whatever. And I think when I got out, I had like 14 guys under me.
So I have to know, like, how high up is a sergeant major in, let's just keep it simplistic for you, in the army? Like, how high up is that?
So sergeant major is like, that's the last rank you reach on the enlisted side. I mean, what do you mean? Like, how high up is that?
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand. So you were, when you were a staff sergeant, what was that
Oh, I
in?
was an E6.
Okay,
So sergeant
E6. Okay, then.
major is, yeah, they're E9.
And then you said you only have one sergeant major of the army.
Yeah.
So are the sergeant majors as hard ass as they're portrayed in movies and TV? For instance, like Full Metal Jacket or Generation Kill or Forrest Gump. Are they actually, do those movies portray a sergeant major where they're just picking on the most smallest and minute details of shit just for the sake of picking on them?
Man, yes, it can be. Some of the movies are pretty accurate. Because I've ran across some sergeant majors that just nitpick the smallest bullshit. Like, man, when I was in Iraq in 2009, we had I think it was 13th Expeditionary Sustainment Command or whatever. They were in charge of the base I was at, and man, those guys, I swear, had the most damn sergeant majors I've ever seen. Because man, they put them outside the chow hall, and that's where we go eat and everything, and they would look like, you go in and eat chow and everything, you come out and they're like standing there just waiting to nitpick, like trying to catch someone with a toothpick in their mouth, or walking. And I'm like, man, fuck, these guys have a lot of sergeant majors because they were there all the time. You have some at the front, like when you're trying to go in, make sure people have their boots bloused and all that crap. I was like, man, damn.
So
This is
what?
what these people's job. They bring them on a deployment, just stand outside a damn chow hall and nitpick.
So what is your favorite war movie then? I'm interested.
Favorite of all time?
Since you actually served, it'd be interesting to hear from someone that actually walks the walk.
Man, I like Black Hawk Down.
Those are,
That was a good one. Man, of course, I loved Lone Survivor, 13 Hours.
so yeah, you like the ones that are based on the real deal. Like Lone Survivor.
Yeah.
Lone Survivor was a great movie actually. That was really good. Well done from what I can listen to. Was it what's the real guy's name?
Marcus Luttrell.
Yeah, that's right.
And he
Marcus
was on,
Luttrell.
and he was on Rogan.
Rogan, that's where I saw him, yeah,
and
on
and he
Rogan.
consulted on it
Yeah,
to make sure
yeah.
it was legitimate and it was as accurate as possible. I've only watched that movie twice. I can't watch it anymore.
No.
It gets me too emotional that those guys would do anything for each other.
Mm.
Like absolutely anything. And even to the point where I forget who played him. What was his real name, Bogey? The guy, Lieutenant Mike, the guy that gets shot.
Michael Murphy.
Michael Murphy, the guy that I remember his first name's Taylor Kirch or Kitch. When he goes out to make that call to get the quick reaction force out, and then he just starts taking rounds, or I think it wasn't Danny Dietz, but it was Ben Forrest plays him. And then, like, when they're falling down the hill and they're just cartwheeling and they're just out of control, I'm going to be honest, I just get too, like, drawn into the movie for that. Like these guys would just do anything. Like they're SEALs, they're badass, like some of the most badass warriors on the face of this earth, and they would just do anything to save
Their brothers.
their brothers. Yeah. So and it's no different. I haven't watched all of 13 Hours yet.
See, I really like Band of Brothers, if that series. Did you ever watch that book?
Dude, man, I love Band of Brothers.
That's so amazing, right? Because it's based on, and that's the same thing, that brotherly sort of love. Like, I've never served, but I could imagine if you're with this group of guys day in, day out, and you'd, like, do anything for them. More so than you'd even do for yourself, I think. I mean, that's what the gist I was getting from that. That they would take, you know, and that, you know, that does bring a tear to the eye. I don't know if, I don't want to say I don't think women get that, but guys have that bond with each other where we would when we say we take a bullet for your buddies, we actually mean it. Like if you have a bond with somebody and you say that, it's a different level than, you know, and I think that's what they get to when you go serve, right?
Yeah, man, for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to let Bogey answer that because I personally have no idea either.
Yeah, man, it's spot on, dude. You just serving with guys and stuff, man. You make a bond that's like none other. You got that brotherhood and everything. Guys that you know, you go to war, they're gonna have your six. And you're gonna be sitting there in a guard tower and everything else together. So you might as well get used to them.
So when you come back to civilian life, don't you find it hard to make connections with people then, because you've made these bonds with these people that mean everything to you? And does it not feel kind of fake when you come back home?
No, it
like
is
not fake,
hard
not the
getting
bond
back
that you
in.
had. Sorry, not the bond that you had, but now that you're in civilian life, you just look at other people and think, well, you guys just don't understand.
Oh man, yeah, it's like my buddy Jared. You know, we didn't serve together and everything, but he served, and we, you know, just because he served and I served and everything like that, we just, you know, hit it off like right off the bat, and we just clicked. You know, it's just you have that. You know, we have that dark humor in the military, and we say stuff that some people just don't get, and you know, they don't understand it. And they're like, man, there's something. Like my wife, I've showed her stuff before that, you know, like a military buddy is sitting there or something. She'll look, I'm over there like dying laughing, and she'll look at me. She's like, there's something like terribly wrong with you. Like you're messed up in the head. It's like I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have that dark humor like none other.
Well, you have to have that to be able to survive it, right? Because you're living on this thing where you could be gone in an hour, and so you have to like find humor in the darkness, almost, right? Am I right?
Yeah, you find humor. I don't know, man. It's something about it. Like I said, you know, you have your occasional people in the military like that is not funny, but you know. I dare to say about 80% of us are like, this is some sick, twisted shit, but, you know, here it is. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
From what I heard, other people say that have been either law enforcement officers or military, and I'm not either of those. But it's a coping mechanism. It's a coping mechanism of being on the absolute line or on that tattered thread of survival or death, and so it's a coping mechanism to cope with the situation.
I don't know. It's either that or the fact that, you know, in the military we don't get a lot of sleep and you get delirious and we just find shit funny that's not, you know, normally funny for anyone else. Because I'm gonna tell you, man, when I was in Iraq in 2005, man, we ran so much, and you know, on doing like convoy escorts and stuff like that, you know, we didn't get a lot of sleep, man. We were lucky if we got 4 hours of sleep a night, and that's about all we got the whole time I was there. And man, after that first few weeks, you know, first couple of weeks, a week or so, something like that, of running on, you know, 3 to 4 hours of sleep every night, you get delirious, and that was how we were the whole time we were there. In 2005, man, we were like delirious for a year.
Is that how long that first deployment was? 12 months.
Yeah.
You sorry, I just need to get my head around this and so that the listeners can understand that as well. You survived off of, on average, at the best case scenario, 4 hours of sleep per night for 12 months.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Occasionally, you know, you get a day off and, you know, you could sleep in. And that was that was the day that you really wanted to sleep the whole day, but you better take advantage of the free time, like trying to get your laundry done, and if you want to try to go call home, or go to the internet, cafe they had set up for us so we could email family. You wanted to try to do that stuff on your day off.
So how often would you get
Um,
a day off? Was it once a week, or were you going longer term without a day off?
oh man, we went that first deployment. We didn't get a day off very often. Man, we were probably halfway in before we got to where we would start getting a day off. About
And how often were
it
you
it,
like?
it
I'm
really
sorry.
it really depended, if it would be a week, a day off a week or not, depending on whatever needed to be done. If we were we had a lot of convoys and stuff where we had to do convoy security, and then we had to patrol, and then depending on
So
if
you're
they
going
needed
out in
someone for
live
like.
situations, like live action situations, and you're living off of 3-4 hours sleep for
Oh yeah,
10 days
yeah.
straight, and that's crazy, man. That's fucking. I know what I'm like after 4 hours sleep for one day. I'm a fucking asshole, and I'm like, I, I am. I can't function one day.
But
Right?
but
I mean, I guess you'd get used to it, but like you'd still be at a lower functional range if you're just living off of that. You know what I mean? Like you'd have to almost make it to be well, I guess you're training that way so you'd become accustomed to it. But yeah, that would be tough on performance.
it's not even training. I think when I'm going to try to comment, and then you tell me if this is like around the mark or not, Bogey. But when your life is on the line, or your brother's life is on the line, like literally, and I don't know what the threat level was from day to day, but there is no other option but to function.
Oh no, when the adrenaline kicks in, you
Mm.
just like it's like you did some speed or something. You go from like 0 to 1,000. When the adrenaline kicks in, the deliriousness is like gone.
Once again, the body is an amazing fucking machine. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
so you could be cognitively degraded because of sleep deprivation, and then going out and doing, I don't know, like convoy security or whatever you were saying, Bogey. Your brain cognitively knows, fuck, I need to be on point right
Yeah,
now for the next amount of hours, and bam, your adrenal gland is going.
yeah, man, it's crazy. When you're delirious, that's like it's like a happy grumpy, type situation. It's like everything, you're just like a grouch, but everything's funny. That's that's what it seemed like the whole deployment was. I mean, because everything, it seemed like we just stayed laughing, joking, cutting up. Just anything we could to pass the time.
So, Bogey, do you have the same issue that I do? Like when you're watching a military movie, you point out all the inaccuracies to your family?
Oh yeah, man. Anytime I'm watching one, not really as much with like Navy and stuff like that. Unless it's like your basic uniform, but man, especially Army movies, I'm like, oh, that dude's ranks on wrong. That patch shouldn't be there. And, they're wearing that patch wrong. Just all kinds of stuff like that, man. I can't. It's like it drives me crazy or something.
And how does Miss Bogey react to that?
Man, she just says, oh well, they might not know in Hollywood or whatever. She's got pretty much used to it now. She just keeps watching the movie and doesn't pay me any attention.
I like that. It just must be in Hollywood, but yet the Hollywood budget would be able to afford like a military consultant. You
Yeah.
know, do you know who I think does a good, realistic portrayal of firearm function and handling and movement in movies is Keanu Reeves in the John Wick series of films.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen him do training on YouTube. What was the training
He was training with Taran Tactical.
Yeah, he was. The only thing is, I did notice, we talked about this a few days ago, was he put his finger in the trigger guard when he was checking out in John Wick, I think 2 maybe, where he's in this shop when he's looking at different firearms he wants.
That's
He
right.
put his fucking finger in the trigger guard, and I was like, what the fuck? You'd never do that.
So, I've got to commend him. Like, he's using proper technique, and he's changing magazines, and he's getting rounds on target, and then he's confirming. So, I got to give props to him. I think he's using proper technique.
You know who isn't, doing any range time?
Who's that?
Alec Baldwin.
Oh man. That was a mic drop, I think, at the other end.
Do you follow any of the media regarding that topic, Bogey?
Nah, man, it kind of burnt out. There's not a lot being said about it now, but man, dude ought to do some prison time over that one.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Like, no, I was just curious because like it's totally burnt out up here in Canada. Like, I haven't heard anything on Facebook.
I'm sure nothing will happen. I'm sure he'll pay his way out. He's in Hollywood. He's in that little Hollywood clique or whatever. So,
it'll be just like Chappelle Corby, like going to Bali with the boogie board full of marijuana. Geez, what was that, like 10 or 15 years ago now or something like that? You guys probably wouldn't have heard of that, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same up here, man. Like the lefties seem to have a double standard on what they can get away with. It's the same down there too. I mean, you guys have CNN and MSNBC, and it's basically that's all that our media is like that. We don't have the other side like Fox. I mean, we have Rebel News, but it's not really mainstream. So we only get the one side. So and then that's it. Like they can do whatever they want, and then if you're on the other, if you've got good moral values and standards, and you're a little bit more right wing, man, you can't even fart in a crowd without them.
Now if something's on the news, they come out with something on the news the way it is now, you might as well just assume that what the truth is actually the exact opposite of what they're reporting.
Well, yeah, 100%. You're right. That's one thing I really appreciated about Trump is that I might not always agreed with everything he said, but he did really highlight the inaccuracies of the media and the fake news. Like that's it, and yeah, like you said, once they've lied about 100 things that we've seen in the last 2 years, you're never gonna anything they report now. You just say, oh yeah, there's no way this is true. Like Ukraine, right? Like
one thing I like about Trump.
What's that?
That cheap gas. Right now.
No shit, dude. I just filled up.
This shit is brutal.
Oh man, I just filled up, man, and it was like $2.25 a liter.
For regular?
I do have to put premium in mine.
Where did you go? Where did you go for $2.25?
Just in Langley.
So that would have been like $8 a gallon.
Yeah.
Like I paid at Costco the other day. I paid $2.01. And I think that was like $7.87 a gallon, like in Freedom units. Like, what are you paying down there now in Mississippi, Bogey?
For premium, I don't know because I don't run premium.
No, but like even
just regular.
Yeah, even just regular. Like,
dude, man, like $4 and some change a gallon, dude. Like my boat, man, my freaking boat. I have a bass boat, man. That thing runs off of non-ethanol. So, man, that shit's like $4.89 a gallon here. I'm like, damn, I can't even afford to go fishing.
And what would it have been when the bad orange man was in administration? Like, what sort of...
Like regular unleaded gas when Trump was in office, dude, was like $1.50 a gallon. I mean, like the non-ethanol gas would be like $2.69.
Man, that's such a massive difference in...
Yeah, it's doubled since old Mushhead's gotten office.
Let's go, Brandon. Like that's really all I'm gonna say.
Man.
Is that what you do? Is that like one of your outlets, Bogey, fishing?
Oh man, I love it. I think it really helps with like issues from PTSD and stuff like that. Just be out on the water, wetting the freaking hook, man, ripping some lips, dude. That's my thing.
What are you catching down there?
I love bass fishing.
Bass? Cool, man. I've never done bass fishing. We have rainbow trout. I don't even know if you guys would have that down there.
We do. Not in Mississippi, we don't, but like over in Arkansas, which is like one state over,
Oh yeah.
they have a lot of like really, really cold rivers and stuff over there, and we have rainbow trout. I'm not really familiar with trout. I've been like went over there with some friends. We rented a cabin one time and hit the Little Red River that came out of Heber Springs, Arkansas. There's a Greer's Ferry Lake, I believe is what it is. Man, there's a lot of the rainbow trout, and they have like trout hatcheries and stuff over there, and they release them into the wild.
Oh, cool. They're a fun
And
fish.
man, that water is freezing cold that they're in too.
Yeah, the lake that I do it up in it's fucking cold, and the best time is just about June, and when the water's just starting to warm, but it's still fucking cold. So they're obviously a cold water fish. Because by August when it warms up here, they go hiding. You can't catch them.
Oh wow, dude, man, when my boy Dak comes down, I'm gonna take him bass fishing and try to see if I can't get him on a few.
If you come up here, we'll take you sturgeon fishing out on the Fraser.
Man,
100%.
Hey, so me and him were talking about the other day. That the other day. Are sturgeon? Are they on the endangered list? Can you keep them or what?
They don't keep them. It's catch and release. I think it's just for a day thing. But the First Nations, I've heard, they used to catch them on the side of the river, and they'd keep them hooked for weeks, and they just hack off a piece of meat.
That's messed up, man.
Yeah, and they because they're like prehistoric, these things, man. Yeah, like there's some in the Fraser that are like 150 years old.
Yeah, they're 100% fucking dinosaurs swimming in the Fraser.
Totally.
And right.
And I was saying to Bogey, like, when he if he ever comes up, if the opportunity ever shows itself and he comes up, I'm like, we're definitely going sturgeon fishing. And then he was saying, when you saying, Bogey, that sturgeon were
they use the eggs for like Russian caviar, I believe.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So they're quite valuable at the same time, and maybe that's why they catch and release them. I don't know.
Yeah, you can get some big motherfuckers up here.
Yeah, man. I've seen like some charters that are getting like 11, 12 footers.
Yeah.
Like, like big fish.
Yeah.
Like massive fish. So
I mean, I'll tell you the fish I want to catch. Man, did y'all have y'all ever watched like I think it's History Channel, and they have the wicked tuna where those guys are catching like giant bluefins over on like the East Coast up around Boston and stuff. Y'all ever see that?
Yeah, I've seen that show.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Dude, I love that show, man. Like my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law, they live in Rhode Island because my brother-in-law's in the Navy. So me and my wife and my kids, we went and visited them, this past summer. And man, you could go like do a charter trip for like $1,400 to go out and go, try to catch giant bluefins. I was like, man, I should have, I need to save up money and make that a list to go try to catch one of those one day. I think that would just be like an awesome experience.
Do you know what? If you want to put that on your bucket list, we need to win the lottery, and I need to take you to Port Lincoln in South Australia, where you can catch the giant bluefin that are like 300-400 pounds of fish.
Oh man, some of the ones they catch on like wicked tuna, dude. Those fish weigh, 1,000 pounds and stuff like that. Those guys are selling those fish, back before like COVID tanked everything. I guess because like their main buyers like Japan, the market, man. Some of those guys were getting $20,000 for a fish.
I got to see, but like my boy Johnny Talbot down in SA, I know that he has caught some big tuna, man. And I'm just looking now, but like I'm curious to know what the size of the tuna that he has caught. Like he's caught big tuna.
What was her name?
Dude, I'm gonna send you some pictures of like Johnny's a fisherman, so I gotta give him credit, but he's catching snapper and tuna and.
I'd like to catch one of those giant Goliath groupers down there off the Florida coast also. That would be pretty legit.
Dude, I thought you were going to say you wanted to catch a fucking zipper trout.
No.
That's for the husky bohonk. Oh, dude, I'm going to send you some pictures of Johnny. Fuck, he's an outdoorsman.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have to because I'm not fucking going back any further. Fuck it. I'm done. I'm fucking done going back. All right. Hey, on the fishing theme, what sort of gear do you use? Like, what could you recommend to people that they can use for bass fishing?
Oh man, there's a wide variety of stuff you use for bass fishing. Like one of my favorite things to throw is like going over and rigging up like a lizard. You know, they call it like a Ned rig, or not a Ned rig, a Gibbs rig. You'll have like a bullet weight on it. You have like a weight stopper, and you'll have it sitting on the line. I don't know, about a foot up. And man, that's one of my favorite things to throw when I go fishing, especially like springtime bite, the spawn bite, and everything for bass. And I'll throw, from in an area that might have like a lot of smallmouth bass, I'll throw a shaky head weight on like a finesse worm and everything. I'll use like a spinning reel and everything for it. And then I have several like bait casters, made by Lew's. So just a real brand I prefer. I have several different rod companies, rod brands I use. My boat, I have two 12-inch Humminbird Solix depth finders and everything. So you need good electronics and stuff, especially when it comes to like fishing some of these bigger lakes and a lot of big water and stuff like that. You definitely gonna need to be able to identify the fish like sitting on ledges and random stuff like that. Of course, I mean you definitely need a good boat.
So Lou reels you recommend, even though you had problems with yours the other week?
Yeah, I still like Lew's. I like a Boo Garcia. They make pretty good reels also.
What was that last one? Lou Garcia?
A Boo Garcia.
Oh, boo, as in like scaring someone?
ABU.
Like
Abu, like the monkey off of Aladdin.
Oh, gotcha. Abu. It's the fucking accent, bro. It's getting back to your like time in the military and being deployed. What's lifestyle like in a forward operating base? Like what's the routine like?
Oh man, it just depends. Some people work days. Like I was maintenance. When I went to Iraq, I did weapons maintenance. I worked on like 50 cal machine guns, M4s, pistols, 240 Bravos, stuff like that, machine guns. I was gone a lot doing like convoy security. But man, when you're back on the fob, when you actually have time, it's only when I was on the fob, we ate good. Most fobs had pretty good chow halls. Food was actually pretty decent. They have like MWR tents set up for they have like ping pong tables, pool tables, stuff like that. You might have like one pool table, one ping pong table. They got like a weight room. They try to host some events and stuff to help with like morale. You have they had USO shows come over to like the bigger bases and everything most of the time.
Did you?
But, you get some comedians and stuff in. It wasn't too bad.
Did you ever get to like see or meet any comedians or celebrities that came over? Were you ever on a fob that was that big that some sort of celebrity came?
So the first time, no, it was mostly pretty small. And then the second time, I was over there as a Joint Base Balad, Iraq. It was like a larger air base, and it had a lot of people there. They had like I think WWE or something like that. The wrestling, they came over there, and then there's Five Finger Death Punch come over and did a concert. I think Charlie Pride, no, not Charlie Pride. Charlie Daniels came over, I think, and did a concert. So I didn't get to. I was gone when that happened. One time I was home on R&R for 2 weeks on my leave, and then I think the second one, I think when Five Finger Death Punch came around, I was probably out, on a mission or something like that. So I didn't get to catch either one of them. But when I was in California doing my desert combat training and stuff before we went overseas in 2005, I got to see the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, Brittany Murphy, and
the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders and Brittany Murphy's who you remember.
Yeah, that's who I got to go see. I was like, oh, we got one that's like a cohort that's dead now.
Well, probably better her than Whitney Houston.
Oh man, can you imagine? Getting so fucked that you drown in your own bathtub?
No,
a few guys have done it though. Jim Morrison. Fucking...
Not only did she do it, her daughter did it too.
Oh shit!
Did she really?
I'm pretty sure she did.
Damn, son. Fucking hell. Talk about passing on generational pain.
Boy, that apple don't fall far from the tree, does it?
Exactly. So is the routine pretty crucial when you're in a fob out of maintaining sanity?
Oh yeah, man. We you just do whatever you can to pass time and try to have fun. Like we actually caught some scorpions and we were fighting those.
They do that on Generation Kill.
Yeah,
They fight scorpions.
I think it's a pretty common thing, man. Those and the camel spiders over there. Those camel spiders, dude, they get pretty large, and man, those things can jump like Michael Jordan, bro. The first time I came in contact with one of those, man, we were sitting there and we didn't get settled in on that first deployment, and we had the electronics trailer there that where those guys like would work on like night vision goggles and radios and stuff like that, and they had built like a deck that was they probably went out about I don't know 12 to 15 feet, from the side of the trailer, and they went on and built some tables and everything. We were having a little downtime one night. We're sitting there playing poker, and it was like we heard something, and so the deck came out, but the table we were playing at was like right up next to the electronics trailer. It went out a couple feet and everything, and they built a rail and stuff over there too. So they had like a little deck and everything on outside the trailer. We heard something, running along that rail. I was like, what is that? And we shine a light over there, and it was a damn camel spider. And that rail was like, I don't know,
A 2x4?
about 8 feet. Yeah, it was like a 2x4 rail that built a little deck and everything, deck rail. And it was about 8 feet from the table, man. And that damn spider jumped from that rail and landed in the middle of our poker table.
Fuck
And
that.
yeah, dude, it was crazy. It's like because the way they do it, they'll jump up from the ground onto those camels like stomachs and stuff, and they'll like eat a hole in their belly.
Jesus, that's where they get their name.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
So
But yeah, we catch the things who would like take a paint marker or something and like mark them, and we'd fight them, against each other. We were like over betting on betting on scorpion and spider fights.
well, I guess you really got to do what you got to do to pass the time. I mean, I can't.
So camel spider or a scorpion? What was the what seemed to be
The victor.
the victor?
Oh man, the big black scorpion, man, by far.
Oh yeah.
So a black scorpion would do in a camel spider.
Oh yeah, man, you get one of those big ones, bro. Man, they would tear a camel spider up.
Like Dusty just like Googled a camel spider and showed me a picture, and it looks quite large, man. Like
Yeah, they're rather large. I'm pretty sure nothing like some of the shit y'all have in Australia. Y'all have like 9.5 out of the 10 top world's deadliest creatures.
yeah. There's a lot of deadly snakes.
Fox jellyfish.
Yeah, like deadly spiders. But I just picture when you say a camel spider, like it would be similar to the Queensland bird-eating spider, which is a rather large spider that if you have an A4 bit of paper, like a letter bit of paper, I'm just showing up a bit of paper to Dusty now, that spider will cover that quite comfortably. And
Wow.
like it can construct webs strong enough that catches birds in it. Like that's how big the spider is. Like if you Google Queensland bird eating spider, they're big. So obviously they're not targeting humans, say like a funnel web that is like the world's deadliest spider, but it's just the sheer size of them. Like my buddy has run into one. Yeah, he said he shit his pants like seeing it.
Yeah.
So
I'm just thinking it would cover your fucking chest.
I'll tell the story, and if we end up getting Craig on, then he can tell it as well. But essentially, Craig ran a panel beating and spray painting business in Lonsdale like a number of years ago, and he contracted a lot of work to the local car yards. So they would trade cars in and they would have scratches or dents on the bumpers or the doors or whatever. And so they engaged Craig to fix that work so that they could sell them in their car yards. And I remember Craig telling me that he went to a business once on Christie's Beach road, and he went in there, and let's just say the guy's name was Gary because I can't remember his name. But he walked in there and he's like, "Hey Gary, how you going?" And Craig noticed he was quite white at the time, and he's like, "Bro, is everything okay?" And he's like, "Go look in the coffee room, like the cafeteria area where like the workers would eat their lunch." And he said he went in there, and there was a spider on a letterhead bit of paper or an A4 size bit of paper that covered the whole paper, like the leg spread. And he was like, "Oh, fucking Jesus." He's like, is that thing alive? And Gary was like, "No, it's not. I killed it." And Craig was like, "What the fuck happened?" And so Gary said, "Look, I came in early to open up the shop, like to open up the yard, get some paperwork done. And so I had a coffee. I then got the coffee enema. I needed to go number deuce, and I went into the toilet and I dropped my Dax. And as I was, the eagle has landed," he said, "I just felt like something was watching me, and I looked down into the corner of the room," and he said there was this fucking gigantic spider in the corner of the toilet, and he said it reared up. And so he said, I fucking bolted out of there. He went down to the local Woolies on Beach Road. He went and bought a massive can of bug spray, and he said, I went back in there. I just cracked the door open and emptied that fucking can of bug spray in there. Like, basically gas chambered this fucking spider, closed the door and, like, waited 10 minutes, opened the door. The spider was lifeless in the corner, scooped it up on this A4 bit of paper.
Fuck.
And then he was like, well, what the fuck do I do now with it? So then there was a reptile shop next door. And so he waited for the reptile shop to open, and he went next door and he said, hey, look, I know that you deal with reptiles, but I'm wondering if you deal with arachnids at all. And he's like, oh, yeah, we dabble in it a little bit. We know a bit about it. Like what's up? And he's like, we'll come next door. And so he took the reptile guy next door, took him into the coffee room, and he's like, oh, no. And Gary's like, what the fuck are you crying for? And he's like, that was my pet.
Yeah.
And Gary was like, what? And Gary was like, what? He was your pet? He's like, yeah, it was a baby bird-eating spider. Like a fucking baby. And so you can imagine that its body must have been 1.5 inches wide by, I don't know, probably like 4 or 5 inches long, and its legs were long enough to cover like the edges of that paper.
Fuck.
Like, that's fucked up. And that's how I picture a camel spider.
Yeah, they sound like they're pretty similar.
Yeah, but it's interesting. But like, so when this camel spider jumped, what was it, like 8 foot? You were saying, like from the railing onto the card table.
Yeah.
Like, are people pulling out their sidearm and like shooting it? Like, what was the reaction?
Yeah, one guy he had an M4, and that dude locked and loaded, man. He was about to unleash on it. I was like, man, you can't do that. You can't sit there and pop those rounds off trying to shoot this damn spider inside the fob.
Oh my god!
What'd you guys do? How'd you get rid of it?
Dude, after it jumped on the table, someone flipped the table. We don't know what happened to it. We're like trying to light it around. One guy saw it. He was about to shoot at it and everything, but after that, we never saw it anymore, man. I don't know what happened to it. They get rather large. I mean, I don't know if the ones we were catching and fighting mostly were babies or not, but they were about like tarantulas.
And what's the purpose of them? They just jump onto the camel's stomach, like the belly.
I don't know what the purpose is. That man, so they don't have like a. They're not releasing like a poison. They're releasing like an anesthetic, man. So like numbs.
Oh, so it doesn't even know it's there. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't even know it's there. So it's just sitting there like eating holes in it and everything. So
that's fucked up. Like, that's just giving me chills knowing that it's not poison, it's anesthetic, and it's just eating a fucking hole in live flesh, and then you bleed like the camel.
It's basically like Trudeau. Just fucking bleeding us out. Acting like he's non-harmful at all.
Like, I hate to...
Man, he must be reading Joe Biden's book.
Oh fuck, they all are. Yeah.
I
call him Captain Happy Socks.
How to Ruin a Country by Joe Biden.
By Sleepy Joe. So, Bergie, was there anything else you did to pass the time on FOBs?
Yeah, we actually had a softball field, man, and flag football field and stuff like that. I didn't really play the flag football and stuff like that because I was really busy during that time. But I got to play in the softball league. It was pretty cool. We had probably 6 or 7 teams and everything, and which a bunch of all it was a bunch of people that grew up playing baseball and everything like that. I was one of those people. I started playing baseball when I was like 4 years old, so when they said something about having, a softball league and everything, I was like, yeah, just help out, passing time and everything like that. And I took my baseball glove over with me. A bunch of the guys that, I deployed with, they did the same thing. We used to sit around and throw baseballs and stuff like that all the time.
Sweet. Well, so how far did you get in baseball? Because did you guys have a high school team then down in Mississippi?
Yeah, man. So I played high school baseball and everything, and probably could have played junior college baseball, but I decided to join the military right out of high school, so I didn't give that a chance.
You were
I knew I wouldn't ever came close to making it pro, so
you were a pitcher?
Yeah, I pitched and I played outfield.
So what was your favorite team growing up?
Oh man, so when I was in 4th grade, our teacher, she was a big baseball fan, and we were like studying about Roberto Clemente and stuff like that during the time. So she assigned everyone a little report to do and everything. We had to do a little book report on certain baseball topics and stuff like that. And I was assigned to do a report on Boston Red Sox and like the history of Fenway Park and everything like that. So, man, I instantly became a Red Sox fan. And then my dad's side of the family, they live in Texas and everything. So as a kid growing up, we used to go to Astros games all the time. When I was like 3 years old, I actually went to a game and Nolan Ryan was pitching, which I don't remember much of. I just remember being there and people going crazy. And my aunt about whooped my ass because I kicked this old man in the back of the head that was sitting in front of us. But so my dad, they wanted me to be Astros fans and everything. And I kind of had like the Astros were my favorite National League team.
Was that back in the Craig Biggio days? Was it Biggio?
Yeah, Craig Biggio. Yeah,
his son plays now, right?
The Blue Jays.
Okay, yeah. Cool,
It's Craig Biggio, Jeff Bagwell.
Bagwell, that's right.
Let's see, yeah, those they were my favorite National League team, which they're American League now. But yeah, man, I was a Red Sox fan. And I'm gonna tell you, if you've never been to Fenway Park, dude, that place is where it's at. Like my goal is to eventually catch like a Red Sox game on top of the Green Monster.
Yeah, man.
Dude, those tickets are expensive.
I was actually in Boston a few years ago, and yeah, we watched the Yankees Bo Sox game, and the thing I noticed is the fucking seats are small there, man. And I mean, it's cool, but it's at the same time you're like, holy shit, the people in the 1920s were fucking small.
Yeah, dude. So it's crazy though because man, like you have like some of the original wooden seats and stuff from when the stadium was built.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some seats that people sit there and watch like Babe Ruth play, and when Yankees come to town, you had Lou Gehrig and Mickey Mantle, and some of the greatest to ever play the sport.
Did you ever watch Field of Dreams, the movie Field of Dreams?
Oh yeah,
that's a good movie,
several
right?
times.
Yeah, I think the author actually lives up here, or he did anyway. I'm not sure if he's still alive or not, but I think his name was Warren Kinsella, maybe.
Yeah. I got no idea. I've only ever seen one baseball. Like I've only ever been to one baseball game, and that was with the ex. We went to New York in 2008, so that was old Yankee Stadium, and we paid some stupid amount. It was like $400 US back then to sit. I think it was sort of in line with first base behind one of the dugouts, and we saw. I had no idea at the time. I did some like small amount of research and know that Alex Rodriguez was like the man, but had no idea at the time that Derek Jeter was like a very, very good player. And even though maybe A-Rod took the limelight, Derek Jeter was like a stand-up guy, consistent player. And I didn't understand this at the time until Bogey and I spoke, I don't know, several weeks ago about it. But there was at one time where Derek Jeter got a hit and everyone in the fucking stadium like went ballistic. And then it came over the PA that he became I don't know if it was the all-time hitter, but he surpassed Babe Ruth as whatever the particular
Franchise hits leader.
Yeah, but like it was he surpassed Babe Ruth as the all-time something record, right? And then every Yankees fan got up and went bananas, and I didn't know at the time until I was speaking with Bogey, and he was like, "Yeah, that was a big deal." Him passing Babe Ruth, and that was like a huge. What did you call Yankees team? Death Row? What did you call them the other day? Like,
Murderers Row.
Murderers Row.
Yeah.
And I had to get Bogey. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? So just explain it for someone like me that is a numpty that doesn't know anything about baseball. What was Murderers Row?
That was like 1927 Yankees, like Mickey Mantle, Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, all those guys. So man, I was in Boston back in 2014, and I was watching the Yankees play. I was actually sitting. The tickets I had were phenomenal seats. It was Derek Jeter's last year. It wasn't the last time that he went to Fenway Park that he played at Fenway, but the time before that. So my aunt had got me and my wife at the time the tickets to go to this game because my wife was a Yankees fan. We were sitting 2 rows from the field and 6 seats from the Yankees dugout. And the first 6 seats, like the first 6 rows right next to the dugout, and there were like 6 seats, wide across, they were reserved for the Yankees executives. Well, one of the people that was sitting there was George Steinbrenner's daughter. And I look up, and she probably has, a trophy room with, several more of these baseballs. But I look up, you can clearly see Babe Ruth's autograph on that bracelet and Lou Gehrig's autograph on that bracelet. I'm like, this woman has been taking a baseball from like Murderers Row, signed by the 1927 Yankees, and turned it into a fucking bracelet.
Oh man.
And I'm like, there's no telling. It's probably, it's one of a kind, I'm sure. And there's no telling how much that baseball is worth. And I'm like, here she is wearing it as a bracelet, man. Like, we were that close. Like, we were looking in the dugout, Derek Jeter sitting there. I mean, it is an awesome experience. But, man, even being a Red Sox fan, and I cannot stand the Yankees, Derek Jeter was one of those people that, regardless of who you're a fan of, you could not hate the guy because he played with class and style and played the game like it should be played. Dude he was awesome, man.
Yeah, it is funny when you do have a rival on a rival team, and you have this massive respect, even though you don't, you hate the team, but you have respect for the player, right? Because he carries himself with such class, and he wins with class, loses with class, and we've had a few up here with hockey, and yeah, I know what you mean by that because there's Brian Smith for the Edmonton Oilers hockey team when he retired. Our actual whole team went out and shook his hand on his last game against us. So and they did the same thing for Trevor Linden here. I guess was it Calgary? Yeah, it was Calgary that did it for us. But there is this mutual respect for a guy that has that kind of class in his game, right? And it's a really rare thing to find with players in all the sports, I guess.
Did they do anything for the Zidane brothers?
Oh yeah, they retired their jerseys.
Yeah, but did the
Oh yeah, no, they did actually. They did. Yeah.
Because the only thing I remember is that their 50-50 was fucking huge.
Yeah, well, in the last game they played too, I believe they just lit it up like hard.
Yeah.
It was. They were like just tic-tac-toeing it out there.
Like Bogey, do you know what a 50-50 is?
No.
So a 50-50 is like a charitable donation. You jump in whenever you want, Dusty, but like it's when the hockey's on, you can buy 50-50 tickets and
I did know what that is.
Yeah, because you guys do that
like
down
there. Your number, you get half the pot.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
it. So up in Canada, like they call it a 50-50, and I think
they call it down there that too.
Well, I have no idea, but I know with the Zidines, it was something like $1 million was like the 50-50. So like your personal booty would have been like $500,000, which probably would have gotten you like a quarter of a house here in Vancouver right now.
Oh, now, but back then it would have been.
Oh, yeah, back then.
So have you gone out to Nashville Predators game? You said Nashville's probably the closest major city, right?
No, I've never been. So, man, like hockey, dude, I used to think hockey is like the most boringest thing ever, because like, they're hitting that puck around, which a lot of people have that about baseball. But man, it's like one of the things I just couldn't watch on TV. Well, we had like I guess it'd be like a double A team or something or something like that. I'm comparing it to baseball here. It
Yeah.
wasn't like NHL or anything like that, but this little local little city and everything I'm close to, they had a hockey team there. That was like a minor league team or whatever. And my sister took me to a game one time, man, and it was like it was awesome, dude. I was like, I'm starting thinking, here it is, the camera's sitting there following the puck around, and there might be a fight on the other end of the freaking hockey rink and everything.
Well,
But man, just watching one in person, I was like, man, this is awesome.
and when you're in those more minor leagues, you're going to see a lot more of that stuff, which is more entertaining for a lot of fans, right? I mean, the two things that'll get people off their feet here in Canada for hockey is a fight and a goal, right?
Yeah.
Those are the two things. If they try to take the fighting out of the game, and it's actually detrimental, because that's what draws a lot of people in. As much as they want to try to clean this up for 2022, people still love a good scrap.
I think a lot of it's got to do with me just not knowing the sport, not being familiar with what each position does. I know you're supposed to take and hit the puck and pass the goal into the goal, but I don't know that much about hockey. But man, ever since I went to that one, I can actually sit down and watch it on TV.
Yeah.
But no, I've never been. I wouldn't mind going to a Nashville Predators game either. And you got the Grizzlies that used to be in Vancouver. They're here in Memphis, which I live just south of Memphis, Tennessee, by 30 minutes or whatever. And
that's a bitter point for me. I was so pissed. I was so pissed when the Grizzlies left.
I've never been to a Grizzlies game either, man. But they man, they're right here. But I keep up with them. Like, they have John Morant that plays for them now. That dude is like a beast, bro.
Yeah. So how many?
I'm hoping they did pretty good.
How many baseball stadiums have you been to?
I've been to Fenway Park. I've been to Minute Maid Park, which is where Astros play. I've been to the new Yankee Stadium.
Is Minute Maid the one that has a bit of the hill on the back end of the field there, where they have to run?
Yeah, it used to. They actually got rid of that. I think last year. But it used to have a hill, like a slight hill or whatever. It had the flagpole inside.
So you'd be sprinting. You'd be sprinting and then hit a hill.
Yeah, that would suck, man. Yeah, that would cause a knee injury or something real quick.
That's the one thing I like about baseball, though, is their stadiums are all different, right? I find with hockey now they've just cookie cuttered everything, and it's like I like those intricacies about something, like a post in the way of your view. Not that I want to be the guy that's always sitting behind the post, but I like the fact that baseball still has those intricacies, those differences between the stadiums.
Yeah, I would like to. I definitely want to go to. I'd love to do all 50. Every team baseball stadium. But man, definitely want to do Wrigley Field in Chicago, and I like to go to Arlington, watch the Rangers play.
Yeah.
Sure. But yeah, man, I've only been to 3 so far.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what would be a cool stadium to go to is where the Arizona Cardinals play football.
Yeah.
Like those. So that field, I was reading up about it. Someone was telling me about it not long ago, but that field has the whole field itself retracts and it actually has real grass.
Oh,
so
what you're thinking of?
They roll it out and they let it get sun every day.
I think you're thinking about Vegas. That's the new stadium in Vegas, the new Raiders stadium.
No, it's the Arizona Cardinals.
Because Vegas is like that too.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, maybe they got it from Arizona then, because I know
what is that, Mercedes Stadium or something? What is that they just built for the Raiders?
Yeah, something like that. But they do the same thing. I think they roll the real grass out, and then the university team plays on the artificial turf that's underneath. It's pretty crazy, but it does the same thing. Like, if Arizona does that, they probably obviously were the first to do that, because I know the new Vegas one does that too.
It's pretty neat though, man. You just rolled the whole field out and let it get sunlight because it's real grass.
Yeah.
You boys done with your fanboy shit?
Yeah.
Pretty much, I guess, for now.
So, Bogey, what's military discipline like? So, you told me once of a story of a guy that said that he wanted to go meet his parents, and you were okay with that, and then he ended up chasing tail at a local bar.
Oh, yeah. It just depends on the style, man. Like, the Army tried to crack down on us. So, when we make guys do push-ups and everything like that and do all these random, exercises and stuff to create muscle failure on them, we call that, smoking them. You take them out and smoke them. So I had this one Joe one time. He'd already got in trouble for, I was in a leaders meeting and stuff one night, and man, when I got out, like, this guy had been drinking and was like just sloppy drunk, running his mouth, and they're having to, you know, like try to keep this guy calmed down. So I told him right then, I was like, man, no more drinking for you. We had got a day off or something, and this guy was like, hey, Sergeant Lee, can I go? I want to go eat with my mom and dad. I was like, all right, man, no problem. I was doing something, and some of my guys came up and said, hey, man, Dean, we saw this guy in this bar and everything like that. And I was like, really? I said, who is he with? And it's like, oh man, he's with his girl. I was like, oh, okay. So, had the guy came and told me, said, hey, we're about to leave. We're supposed to be going overseas. Had a guy come on, I'm like, hey, Sarge, is it all right if I go, have a couple beers with my dad? I'd like, go ahead, no problem. I wouldn't have a problem with it whatsoever. But the dude told me he was going out, with his mom and dad. So either he lied to me or he went and then took it upon himself to, not tell me on what he was doing, because if my commander would have come to me, I'm responsible. I'm supposed to be able to tell them where all my soldiers at, what they're doing, and whatnot. So come find out, dude, and went out with his girl, and they got sloppy drunk, and so I went to the barracks she was standing in, and I sat out the end of it, talking to some of the lower guys that didn't belong to me, shooting the bull with them, trying to boost morale a little bit. And I noticed old Dean comes in and lays on his rack and passes out. And I go in there and I get in his face and just let loose, start throwing those knife hands at him, and just going off on his ass. It's like, you know what? I'll see you in the morning. Go ahead and sleep it off. Bring a water source, something to drink, because you're going to need it. And man, and South Mississippi in the summertime, after a rain, it is humid and nasty. I mean, it's like a disgusting heat, bro. You'll be all sticky and sweating your ass off. I waited until about 9 o'clock that morning, and it then got, it'd been raining, and we had some softball fields at the base I was at and everything. And there were some low spots out there. It had a little, about 3 inches of water on it or so. And we took him out there and we just smoked the ever living shit out of that guy. And I was like, make sure you're drinking water, because I don't want you to dehydrate and become a heat casualty or anything like that. But man, we just smoked the hell out of that guy. We had him out there in the water. By the time he was done, he didn't made up, stomped all the water out of it. It was nothing but a big mud spot. And man, dude was like just puking and was hungover so bad. But I sat there and I smoked his ass for a good hour. And then finally, one of my NCOs that I took over there, because you always want to have a witness, just in case something was to happen, you got someone sign that sworn statement. I took one of my judges, we'll just call him Big O. Big O he was a big ass guy, man. He's like 6'2", like he'd be playing in the NFL. I told him he was my bodyguard. So I took Big O with me. He looked at me and said, Sarge, he said, I think, he said, we might need to stop before you kill that son of a bitch. And I was like, all right, let's tell him, let's go. And he goes to open the door to my truck. I guess he thought he was gonna get a ride back. No, bitch, you better get your little nasty ass in the bed of that
truck. So is there anything that's off the table in regards to military discipline?
Oh yeah, man. So you can't go around and like smack the shit out of them. So those days are, they used to do that, but you can't do that. I can't walk up and I'm not allowed to put my hands on them or anything like that. I've had several that tested me, and I really wanted to just wrap my hands around their damn neck, but nothing sexual. You can't punish anyone because of their religion, anything like that. But you can't put your hands on anyone. You can't haze them, anything like that. Which I guess they consider. A lot of them try to push it that getting smoked is like a form of hazing, but the Army try to say you can't do that anymore. They want you to be, putting paper on people, writing them up and stuff like that. And I was not one of those type of people. I hated doing paperwork in the Army. Absolutely hated it. So it's like, I give them a choice. Hey, I can smoke the shit out of you, or I'm gonna dip into your paycheck. But I'm not doing counseling statements and stuff like that. Hated it.
Did you ever get smoked at all by any of your COs?
No. The CO, the commanding officer, ain't really gonna be smoking anyone. Man, I got smoked in basic training, but everyone's gonna get smoked in basic training. A lot of it was mass punishment. We got smoked by the whole platoon got smoked. So I don't really recall ever being smoked once I was out of basic training. I was pretty well disciplined for the most part. I had a mouth on me. I was a little respectful to some officers at times, but I didn't feel like they needed to be talking to me.
What was the best military transport that you ever went on?
Man, I'm gonna have to say a Black Hawk.
Really? What made the Black Hawk the best military transport that you went on?
I don't know. I mean, they were cool to ride in, I guess. I mean, I've flown in C-130s. I mean, there's nothing really special about them. I've flown in C-17s. Man, I tell you, when we were, I think we were flying in the country on a second deployment or flying back off a leave or something. But man, those pilots, the Air Force pilots, do like what's known as like a combat landing. They're like banking hard and like going nose down at the same time and like spinning in spirals. Oh my god, dude! The first time I ever did that, I thought we was about to crash the damn plane. But then on my second deployment and everything, when it come time to do it, I knew it was coming, and the new guys didn't. I just sit there and watched the look of fear in their face and everything like that, and laughed at them.
And what was that in a C-130?
Yeah, they did it on a C-17 also, man. And then of course, like when you take off over there, like as soon as you get to the end of the runway, it's like your nose up, and you're like in a straight climb, dude. Get as much space between you and the ground. I guess they didn't want to get shot down with rockets and stuff. So man, they were like pitching straight up when it come time to take off.
Damn, I can't even imagine. That must be like the world's scariest roller coaster.
Man, I swear, dude. That first time I was like, we're about to crash. I guess my mom was gonna be rich because she can get paid.
What was the best MRE you ever had? When
Chili Mac.
What?
Chili Mac. Chili macaroni.
Chili macaroni was the best MRE you ever had
Yes.
deployed.
Man, I would throw hands on someone for a Chili Mac MRE. The beef stew was pretty good also. Back in the day, man, they used to have a jambalaya one. It was pretty decent. Pot roast with vegetables isn't too bad. I stayed clear of the vegetarian MREs, which they did have like the best candy in those. But my MRE of choice was Chili Mac by far.
You're talking about like a dehydrated meal type thing? Is that what you're
Oh
talking
yeah.
about? Yeah.
Like a meal ready to eat.
Okay, like my hiking ones. Yeah.
Like freeze dried or whatever.
Oh man, yeah. Like we have this Mountain House company up here, and they do a good mac and cheese. They don't have the chili mac though, but I'll have to like see if I can throw some of that in there, dehydrate some chili or something, and throw it in with my regular mac and cheese because
Chili mac.
The chili mac.
Yeah, man.
And you had to get the crackers, which, bro, they were brutal. You would not be able to eat a whole cracker. Like you choke. They were so dry, but you get those and the jalapeno cheese spread or the bacon cheese spread, man, they were legit.
Do you guys have cheese in a can down there? Somebody showed me that one. They have it down in the States.
Like,
it's like
fucking Cheese Whiz?
It's like it's like fucking whipped cream, but it's cheese in that whipped cream canister that you shake and you squirt out.
Yeah, cheese Whiz.
That's where you have your cheese whiz in there. Yeah, like I was like fucking cheese in a can.
Yeah, I ate so much of that shit one time I got sick as a dog when I was a kid. As soon as I was squirting this shit in my mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Late night 7-Eleven run.
Yeah, if y'all ever get a chance, you have like a surplus store and you can ever get your hands on a Chili Mac MRE, man, just eat it.
All right.
That thing's lovely.
If I ever find one in a surplus store, I'll make sure that I post it down to you just so you can relive that.
Yeah.
Oh, bro. I'm going to have to go visit some of my buddies who are still in the military. I'm like, hey, man, what's up? Y'all got some Chili Mac MREs?
What about, what sort of shenanigans do people get up to pass the time on deployment?
Ooh.
Like, just give me the highlights. Like, just give me one or two crackers.
Man, so we had a bunch of guys took like airsoft guns over with them, and they used to run around the motor pool, shooting each other with airsoft guns all the time. Throwing water balloons, making like little MRE bombs, which wasn't always the best case to do overseas because people, flip out and freak out and everything sometimes, and a lot of people get pissed. But you take the heater from the MRE and open the little packet up and take the little actual heater itself out, and you put it in like a Gatorade bottle and throw a little bit of water in there with it and shake it up, and it'll cause that steam and stuff, and it'll make the bottle blow up.
Oh, jeez, yeah. You don't want to be doing that on a
We
base, man. Fuck.
we used to catch people working on that, and like working on something, we'll toss one over to the side and blow it up. Most of the time, it ends up with people hitting their head and cussing. Some people, might bust their head open, but it was well worth the life, for us.
I remember seeing a Facebook reel. I think a guy must have made an MRE Gatorade bomb because, correct me if I'm wrong, Bogey, that those Gatorade bottles would fit neatly into the exhaust tube of the portable toilets on
Yeah.
base. Yeah, so this guy was saying the funniest thing that he ever witnessed done was when it must have been a CO or the sergeant major went into the portable can
Oh, no.
to do his business, and they made a MRE Gatorade bomb, and they dropped the Gatorade bottle down the exhaust tube of the portable latrine, and then obviously it fell into the sump of waste, and then it exploded, and the dude came out covered in shit, and because it was all anonymous because he couldn't see who did it.
Man. So the MRE thing, do they have like like almost like a hand warmer heater where you crack it and then it heats up? Is that what those?
So you have this like little bitty little heater inside of this green pouch.
Yeah.
And you tear the top out of the green pouch and pour like a little bit of water in there. And it's some type of magnesium something. I believe is what it is.
Yeah.
And when the water mixes with it, it heat makes it real hot, and it puts the water causes also the steam, so that's what cooks the meal.
Ah, cool, man.
I would take the chili mac MRE. I wouldn't even heat it up. I'd just open the little packet and eat it.
Oh, wow.
It was that good.
Huh.
I mean, a lot of times I just didn't have time to. I just got so used to eating it without warming it up because I always under like leaders meetings or something like that. There's always something going on. That's the only thing with the military. Once you make high enough rank and you're over soldiers and stuff like that, you don't have a lot of time to do whatever you want. Especially when we had drill weekends and we were like so busy, man. I might get to talk to my wife, maybe 10 minutes out of a day. There's a lot of times that we were up so late doing leaders meetings that I'd get a text message from her like, hey, I'm going to bed, love you, talk to you in the morning or something. That way sometimes.
That's great. That's like crazy busy.
Yeah.
What was the C-Ram story that you told me about, Bogey?
Oh man, so when I was in Iraq in 2009, man, we had these things that were called C-Rams. And what they did was they would, shoot more incoming mortars and rockets out of the sky. And all it is like a giant Gatling gun.
It's like that R2D2 looking thing that.
Yeah, it's like a dome, man. It looks like R2D2 with a fucking Gatling gun sticking out of it.
Like, is it the GAU Avenger out of the A10, or is it something similar to that?
Yeah, something similar to that. I don't know if it's the exact same size or what. Because those things, they have them set up around the base and everything. Man, you can go on YouTube and pull up, videos of it. They're crazy, but they're inside their own little compound. So the first night that we were in Iraq and on my second deployment in 2009, we were up at Joint Base Balad, and man, we had been so they have. You can go eat chow 4 times a day. They have what was called midnight chow. So me and my buddy, we finally got these like little bit 2-man rooms and stuff like that, and we were gonna go eat midnight chow because we were starving. And we were walking on this road and it was black and everything. You couldn't really see. They had like a couple of generator light sets up throughout the, along the road and stuff. But for the most part, everything a little bit farther out to the right, it was kind of dark over there, and you could see red lights for like antennas and stuff like that sticking up in the dark. But I had no idea that this C-Ram compound was right there. Well, about the time, we're walking out there, and like I said, it's dark, and the C-Ram goes off because we started getting incoming mortar fire from somewhere. But the base was so big, they're like, it might be an alarm going off on the other side of the base, and we didn't hear it on our side, but that was the C-Ram that needed to shoot from the trajectory it was at. So this thing starts going off, and it was so loud, and it scared the hell out of shit out of me. And then all you see is like this red beam that's going through the air because it's got all these tracers. And like in between each tracer round was like a regular round, but all you could see was the tracers going off this thing at nighttime. It was like wicked looking, man. But the thing was so loud, it went off, and like it just scared the crap out of me. It caught me off guard, man. Like you're sitting there walking this little dark road, and all of a sudden this thing goes off, spitting out thousands of rounds a second, and it's like, bah! And it's like,
Oh,
gosh,
jeez.
dang, dude. But man, when you get a chance, man, you can pull it up on YouTube and watch like C rounds going off. There's like a TikTok video going off. I remember seeing one from like Iraq or something. You hear it saying "warning, warning." You hear the siren going off, and all of a sudden you see nothing but the red tracers going through the air. And those things that go up in the air, and the rounds start exploding and try to create like fragments for the mortars and stuff to hit, so they'll explode in the air.
Huh. Oh, that's
They're
crazy.
crazy.
The machines that humans come up with are like pretty incredible. That
Oh, for sure.
like that either someone or a group of people, like even if you take the Manhattan Project and the atomic bomb, but like someone's developed R2D2 on steroids that has like a 20 mil Gatling gun,
Yeah.
like a 20
Yeah.
mil Gatling gun on it. But so Bogey, the Congressional Medal of Honor is the highest military award of the DoD. Is that?
Yeah, it's like the most prestigious award. Most of the people it's awarded to, they paid the ultimate sacrifice. It's like, in order to get that, they not only paid the ultimate sacrifice, they died protecting or saving, rescuing other soldiers. Something like that.
And it's a massive deal where it's investigated extensively before it's awarded.
Yeah, like man, evidently they do like a lot of research on this person, for what they actually did before it's actually awarded to you.
And then witness accounts of to verify the story that probably came from a commanding officer.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, and I'm going to put you on the spot. Have you ever met a recipient of the CMH?
No.
If you were to ever meet a recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor, either a dead or alive, who would you like to meet and why?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, Man, so the Medal of Honor was recently posthumously, or however you say that word, awarded to a Sergeant First Class Alwyn Cash. And what this guy did, man, so his Bradley fighting vehicle was struck by by an IED in Iraq, which is a roadside bomb, and it like hit the fuel tanks or something. So this guy was covered in diesel fuel, and his Bradley was on fire, and this guy had got out and everything, but he still had troops in the back, and this dude, even though being drenched in diesel fuel, he ran back into that burning Bradley and drugged the other team members out, which he ended up dying due to the burns and stuff that he received, but he didn't go back in there not once or twice or three times. Dude just kept going back, and I forgot the number of people that he actually saved and pulled out of there though. But I mean, the guy died due to his injuries from going in there to run back in for his Joes, man. And to me, that's pretty. It shows how brave that guy was, and this happened in a war that I also fought in. So I'd have to go with Alwyn Cash, man. But there's another guy, David. I don't even know how to say this guy's last name. He recently received it, and there's a video of him going around, And dude stated something like, we don't want war. We've seen war, and something like, but I can promise you this: if you want war, then you'll get war. But one thing I will promise you is that someone else will raise your sons and daughters. And I was like, damn, this dude right here is like, that was his speech that he gave when he received the Medal of Honor. But man, you've had a lot of people. I mean, like I said, it's the military's highest award for valor you can get. And there's a lot of people. Like I remember reading about Randy Sugar and Gary Gordon and stuff from like Black Hawk Down. The Delta operators that went in there trying to save the pilot and everything. But there's a lot of guys that you know they actually had a movie out here not long ago about another guy. It's becoming a more common thing. You're seeing a couple more people that are actually living recipients of the Medal of Honor, and that's something pretty rare. And I think since the Iraq and Afghanistan war, you've had like 3 or 4 guys that are still alive that have been awarded the Medal of Honor.
Yeah, I can remember 2 of them. So I think his name was Kyle Carpenter. The
Yeah,
guy
the Marine that lost his eye.
that lost his eye that jumped on a grenade. And then you've got,
Yep.
is it Dakota Meyer, who was recently on the Joe Rogan Experience?
I believe it's his name.
Yeah, and then there's another gentleman. I think he was a ranger, but his name escapes me right now. You got any pets, Bogey?
I do not.
You don't have any pets right now. If you were to have a dog, let's just say, what sort of dog breed would you have and why?
Oh man, that's a tough one. It'd be a hard choice. Man, I would love to have a blue pit bull. Those dogs have really caught a bad rap because of their breed, but I mean, I think it's in how you raise them. I think any dog can be mean. I really would love to have like a blue and white pit bull. Also, man, I think they're some of the coolest looking dogs. A French bulldog. I think they're just like super cool looking. Um,
That's not a manly man dog, but
it,
doesn't the Gronk have one of them?
Gronk does, man.
He does.
Gronk has a little blue French bulldog, man. So I mean, I think Gronk is a pretty manly dude.
No, yeah, I agree. He is. He is 100%.
Man, people say what they want, but man, those French bulldogs are some of the coolest looking dogs to me. They're like, I don't know. I'd love to have a bloodhound, just because I can listen to them bark all day.
Always find bloodhounds funny because aren't they called coon dogs?
Yeah, they're like tracking dogs, but yeah, they're hound dogs.
So
Um,
is there a difference between a hound dog and a coon dog?
yeah. Well, I mean, coon dogs are like they're a type of hound dog. I'm not really big into coon hunts, so you don't really quote me on this, but you have like Walker hounds and like blue ticks and stuff like that. Whatever kind of dogs those were, and where rare fern grows.
I just find the term coon funny because a coon is a very crass Australian term for an indigenous Australian.
Uh-huh.
And so, but I didn't know that before I came to Canada or met people in the States that a coon is a raccoon. Like when they're talking about a
Yeah.
coon dog, they're talking about a dog or a hound that will track raccoons. So I've always just found that like super amusing for me personally. That like, how can you call that dog a coon dog? That's like super offensive. But anyway, apparently they do. Um, Hey, has anyone any told you sounded like Forrest Gump? Like you sound like Michael Connor Humphreys.
Nah, man. So it's actually a weird fact. I actually went to school with Connor Humphreys, the guy that played Little Forrest Gump that had the braces on his legs. I actually went to school with the dude in like 4th grade, man.
No shit.
Yeah. Uh, I guess they needed, had auditions for a country ass kid that, talks slow. Hell, I may have took that role if I'd known they were auditioning for it. I could have been damn Forrest Gump.
And he ended up serving or something, didn't he?
Yeah, he actually ended up joining the army. He was with like 3rd Infantry or no 1st Infantry Division, I think. Big Red 1 out of Fort Riley, Kansas.
Hmm. Bogey, having served for as long as you did, two deployments, what advice would you give anyone looking to join the military?
Don't do it under Joe Biden. It will be the most miserable time of your life if you join under someone like Joe Biden. Man, just be prepared to spend a lot of time away from your family. That's part of the job. You join the military, be tough. Don't be a little candy ass bitch, which seems to be a lot of what they're getting in the military these days.
No, being a good solid soldier wouldn't. I mean that. What is that like? I mean, I guess you wouldn't know because you served when it was actually decent, but that would be frightening to know that the guy that had your back sucked balls. You know, like I'm not talking literally either. I'm saying like, or maybe literally, but you know what I mean? Like that had no fucking skill at all, and they were just.
Hey man, $20 is $20. Hey, talking about that, it's completely off of
Yeah.
what you're talking about right now. But man, you know, always try to be a good leader to my guys. I go to bat for them. I tried to keep them off as many shit details as possible, unless I had screw ups like Dean. And I was like, I'd volunteer him for any kind of shit details. Like, hey, we got a shit detail. I'm like, Dean, before they even get out their mouths, and they say detail, I'm like throwing this guy's name out there, like Dean. But man, a lot of times, I tell them all the time, like, hey, here's me up here, and like, here's this line, and here y'all are right here below me. I'm allowed to come below that line and shoot the shit with y'all, and and everything like that, but y'all don't come above that line with bullshit. So we'd be sitting around, and I'd always ask my guys just like stupid questions, man. Just build morale, just shooting the bull. I'm like, hey, would you suck a man's dick for $1,000,000? And shit like that. And you'd be surprised to see you here, man. I had this one guy, I actually spoke with him earlier today. He rang me on the phone, and he's in Africa right now on the deployment.
He didn't want to suck your dick, did he?
No. He's like, hey, Sarge, by any chance you got $1,000,000? I'm like, no. But, no, I asked him. He's like, shit, what you talking about, Sarge? I mean, this dude was like, he's like way more country than I am. He's like, I was like, hey man, would you suck a dick for $1,000,000? He's like, shit, Sarge, what you talking about? Hey, I'm gonna suck that damn thing so good they're gonna pay me another $1,000,000 to stop. Bro, it was just that. Yeah, that's the type of shit we would do, But those guys, once you have a really good group of soldiers, when you're a leader, if you have a good group of soldiers, man, you're like very fortunate. Like man, me, dude, I had the best group of guys ever, and being out, you miss that stuff. You miss them. You miss the camaraderie and everything, the hanging out, the shooting the bull. The stupid conversations. I can't say that I miss being in the military because I don't. I enjoy being at home with my family, not having to spend time away from them anymore. But I miss my Joes big time, man. Just and I keep in touch with them, man. I kept in touch with every one of my guys. I call and check in on them. Wish them happy holidays and everything like that. But man, they were like some of the best guys ever, man.
So when you took a break, when you had you said you had like 2 weeks off at a time, did you come all the way home with those breaks, or did you just do something else for 2 weeks?
Yeah, I came home on 2 weeks leave. A lot of, you are allowed. You don't have to come home. You can take 2 weeks, and you can say, you want to go to Germany or something for 2 weeks, and just go backpacking through Germany or whatever, Europe. You're allowed to do that stuff.
Did you find it hard to come home and see, what I mean, when you're on it, you're on in the field,
man,
and then
it sucked, coming home. It was great to come home, but it sucked having to go back.
Yeah. And did you have kids at the time when you were?
I didn't on my first deployment. I was single, didn't have any kids. I think that's probably one reason that I didn't mind doing stupid shit
Yeah.
and going out and everything. And
No, it must have
second
multiplied it
deployment,
when you did come
yeah,
home having kids and leaving your kids, right?
yeah. On my second
Yeah.
deployment, I had a
That'd be rough.
son. He was 2. I was married, so it was great coming home. But
Fuck.
you're gonna spend so much because of the time difference. We were like 9 hours ahead,
Yeah.
so jet lag and everything like that. It definitely sucked. You want to sleep, you're tired, we're wore out, and everything like that. But then, it's like, oh dang, I gotta say goodbye again.
Fuck yeah.
Um, so yeah, it definitely was tough.
Yeah, you know what? Those are the
Just
big
to go back.
those videos of guys coming home and seeing their kids. Those will cut me up every fucking time. It's like watching Old Yeller. You remember that movie? Do you remember the movie Old Yeller? They fucking
Oh
shoot the
yeah.
dog in the end of the movie. Like, if you want to see me tear up, show me a video of a guy coming home and seeing his kids. Like, that fucking cuts me every time.
Or do you know what? It's when they come home and they dress up in the football mascot,
Oh yeah.
and then their child's in the band, or
Yeah.
their
Oh, man,
child's
just
doing
cuts
something.
me.
Yeah, like I'm always cutting onions
Oh,
in
man,
in those
fuck yeah.
things. I've got so much empathy and sympathy for those soldiers being away from their family for the length of time. I mean, it's similar but different, and I think it's magnified if you're in the military. But say me and Sugar Girl, I haven't seen my daughter since December 2019 because of fucking COVID.
Yeah.
And so she has grown up so much, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how physically she is. I don't know what it feels like to wrap my arms around her, or how tall she is, or how heavy she is. And I'm like super grateful for technology like FaceTime. Like, I do get to speak to her a few times a week,
Yeah.
but I just can't imagine what that sacrifice is like, being in the military, knowing that if you're doing a mission detail, that could be your last time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It
Man.
amplifies it
Yeah,
massively. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Going back to those videos, man. They're, I don't know. I don't tear up watching them or nothing like that. But one thing I have started noticing, I'm seeing a lot more of. It just makes me like, I don't know, it makes me want to punch them in the face, I guess. Because I'm starting to see more and more of them, of people like that have only been gone to like basic training, and they're coming home from basic training, and I'm like, get this bullshit off
Yeah.
this page. These
Yeah,
little
yeah.
fuckers haven't even earned the right to have one of these videos yet.
Yeah, no, you're right, man. Yeah.
Oh, my baby come home from basic training. Oh, whoop de fucking do.
No, yeah, you're right.
Hey, but Bogey, how do you? What's your personal opinion, and how do you feel about? And maybe it's not now that you're retired
Yes,
from the.
yes, yes. Joe Biden sucks. You don't get the sense.
No. But like, how do you
Uh,
feel if when you were wearing the uniform and you were wearing the flag, if someone came up and thanked you for your service, were you awkward? Were you appreciative? Like, what's your personal opinion on that?
Yeah, what is the best way for a civilian to like show appreciation?
man,
Money. Donate money. Like, give cash now. No, I don't
yeah,
know.
give me money.
Yeah.
Dude. So going back to, I'll get to yours in a question in a second, Dusty. I got to think about that one real quick. Um, that to your question, I mean, it sounds horrible, and I hated the fact that it got that way. I mean, I was really appreciative for a while. I really liked it, but it got to a point where I would try to avoid those conversations because they got to be just so much. Because man, I had people would come up and ask me if I knew such and such, and I'm like, are they in the Mississippi Army National Guard? And oh no, they're in stationed in San Diego and then in the Navy. And I'm like, do you know how many fucking people serve in the military? And you think I'm gonna know this one person out of the hundreds and hundreds of thousands? No, that is not the case. Like I had this one lady one time ask me if I knew this person. I'm like, I reckon I do. They serve in the Army National Guard in Mississippi. Oh no, they were in Vietnam. I'm like, do I look like I'm do I look like I'm old enough to have served in Vietnam? So those conversations right there, always made me hate wearing my uniform in public because I just got to where I didn't want to talk to people. Some of these older war veterans, that served in like Korean War or Nam or something, man. You know, It sure it's nice. I enjoy seeing people paying for their meals. I've paid for a couple of them's meals before, just because like they paved the way for me for my time in the military. And dude, some of those old guys, man, they would love to be able to just talk to you and be able to tell you a story about when they, were in. You could thank them, that way, just having a conversation, buy them a meal, share a meal with them or something. Younger ones, man, you see some of these young guys who are like, oh man, some strippers. You could thank me with strippers or something. You never know what's going to come out of some of these little fuckers' mouths, man.
Yeah.
And I had someone thank me the other day. Something came out about me being in the military. And was, oh, thank you for your service. I'm like, yeah, no problem. So I'm not one of the ones that goes around wearing a hat that says Iraq War veteran or anything like that. I don't really wear too many military looking. I don't wear the what's that big brand everyone grunt style. I don't wear the grunt style shirts.
Oh, okay.
I'm not one of those people. Like I don't advertise, which I do have a veteran tag on my vehicle on my wife's expedition because, the whole time I was in the military, I never got a speeding ticket or anything like that. So I stuck one on my wife's expedition, hoping that she would, it'd help her out getting out of speeding tickets, and this shit ain't helping. So I might as well take that bastard off.
Not helping.
But yeah, I'm not one of those people. Yeah, I'm not one of those guys that really advertises my time in the military though. So I try to avoid even talking.
So going back to Dusty's question, what is your opinion the best ways for a civilian to thank a veteran for their service?
Oh man, what did you say earlier? Give them money. No, I'm just playing.
Hundred
Like the
dollar
older
bills.
veterans. Yeah, you want to think the older veterans, like the War II guys, Korean, Nam, stuff like that. Man, like I said, sit down and just share a meal with them. Buy them a meal. If you notice that one of them's wearing a hat, it could be a fucking lie. You never know. You got so many people still in valor these days that you can't really tell who's veteran and who aren't. But if you can, you see those guys, in line, step ahead of them. Hey, I want to cover your meal or whatever. Man, just walk up and tell them thank you for your service and give them a handshake, be on about your business before they try to con you out of money or something. You never know what they'll do these days.
So, Baggy, what traits do you think a good soldier have?
Man, just being disciplined. That's like the biggest thing, man. Just one of my biggest things I always harped on my guys was their uniform appearance. We have regulations to state the uniform. Man, I always tell my guys, show up in the proper uniform, man. Show up with all your patches on in the right place. In a nice, presentable looking uniform. Don't come up with one that's all stained up and stuff of that nature. Just being disciplined, man. Being able to accept discipline, change. Being able to follow direct order and accomplish the task that's given.
If you were a bad soldier, what traits would you be displaying?
Oh man, just looking like a soup sandwich. Well, all your bad soldiers, you can tell they're shit bags because of the appearance of their uniform. So their appearance is like the first thing that always hit me. If they look like a soup sandwich, chances were they were a soup sandwich. Now there's some that uniform. And then, don't get me wrong, uniforms do get worn out. The new uniforms that we had when I got out of the military, they started putting Velcro on them. That Velcro, like anything else, you open up a pocket after so long, they'll tear open. But you have the ability to turn those uniforms in and get new ones. when you're on active duty, you're given a clothing allowance. So, I do get the uniforms do get worn out and everything, but man, I was always big on appearance. And a lot of times, if there's one that looks like a shit bag, the chances are, if I thought they were a shit bag, then they were a shit bag.
What do you? I'll ask you one. What do you guys drink down in Mississippi? What's your alcohol of choice down there?
$100.
Oh man,
$100 bills.
$100 bills, yo. So man, when I was a teenager and everything, in high school, I just drink Bud Light. That's what I started out drinking. But man, I'm not really a big Miller Lite person. I don't know why. To me, Miller Lite is basically a beer for women. I don't even know if y'all even have this in Canada, but I like Bud Light. I'm not really a fan of the Michelob Ultras. I will drink them. My favorite kind of beer is a cold beer. If it's cold, I'll drink it.
You got a
free cold beer is even better
beer?
than cold beer.
You got a good cooler on your boat?
Man, so my boat does have a cooler built in. I have a Nitro Z18, and it does have a cooler on it. And man, it's pretty legit though. You just pull a little plug out of the bottom when the ice melts. You let it all out, and it drains out the boat, man. But I don't do a lot of drinking while I'm fishing. Yeah. Simply for the fact that man, they're pretty serious down here about like boat accidents and stuff. So you're allowed to have alcohol on your boat, but the captain or the operator of the boat, doesn't need to be drinking.
No,
but
cool, no Mississippi moonshine down there.
Oh man, I have had some moonshine. So man, some of the stoutest moonshine I ever had actually coming from them hill boys in Tennessee, man, up around like Knoxville. Some of the Tennessee National Guard guys were down training, and man, they gave us some shit you could run a race car on, I believe. So, some of that stuff you take and rub it on the wall, and the paint starts running off of it, man. So it was some stout shit.
Dude,
but if you ever go to like Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge to the Smoky Mountains, they have like a moonshine distillery up there that you could try. They have just hundreds and hundreds of like flavors of moonshine, man. Like somebody got my father-in-law. He retired here not long ago. And someone got him a jar of like the caramel or salted caramel moonshine, and man, I'm gonna tell you that stuff was smooth and it was pretty good.
Sweet.
I was also a fan of Jameson. I loved Jameson in high school when I was younger.
Oh fuck, I had a bad night on that.
And they have a Jameson cold brew. It's got coffee in it, and man, that stuff is actually pretty good.
That would be good. Yeah.
Some mornings, the kids are just all running around rambunctious, like, yeah, let me go ahead and put this old Jameson cold brew in my coffee, and mix a little stout.
Sweet.
Just not paying attention to the kids the rest of the day.
Yeah. Well, for every listener that has stayed on till now, listening to us bullshit with Bogey, I sincerely am grateful for you hanging around. And Bogey, I really am grateful for the time that you've spent with Dusty and me, explaining some of the things that you went through and some of the questions that I had. So,
man, I enjoyed it. I appreciate y'all having me.
Well,
thanks, man. Awesome.
you are welcome on the podcast whenever you
totally,
want. Like,
dude. Yeah.
seriously.
Come in.
Yeah, I've got no issue with that, and I doubt it. Dusty has as well. But yeah, you're welcome on any time that you want, man.
Fuck, people should have listened to the outtakes we had on this.
Man. Yeah.
Oh, if we were not putting on all the stuff we talked about. But
no, if we could have published some of that, I'm sure our viewer rating would go up. But like, seriously, man, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. I know it's late where you are now, so. Everyone,
man. It's an ain't no step for a stepper.
always.
Oh,
so,
man, you're awesome, dude, man.
But everyone, thank you for listening. We have some really interesting guests coming up on the show. It's not just going to be my stupid voice and Dusty talking. We're going to have quality people like Bogey on. So stay tuned. Other episodes are coming up. They're being edited as we speak. And as always, take care. If you can't be good, get it on camera. Thanks, guys.
And let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.